Biggest achievement in the past year. Well, I'm proud we've opened 50 hotels in the last couple of years. That's something that I think we should be very proud of. And probably single biggest achievement in the past 12 months would be making sure that we definitely hit our budgets. We delivered what we said we were going to deliver. We've actually slightly above that. So in these markets, that's pretty tough. So I was quite proud of that. Hi, I'm Tim Cordon. I'm the Senior Area Vice President for the Radisson Hotel Group for the Middle East and Africa. Yeah, we're very happy with the performance over the past year or so. I think I'd point out a couple of things that I'm particularly pleased with. Firstly, we changed our operating model in how we operate our hotels, particularly in the Middle East. You know, the market's changed here. We don't see the sort of average rates that we used to see, say 4, 5, 6 years ago. So we've had to adapt how we run our hotels to make sure that we're staying as relevant, as profitable as we possibly can for our ownership community. And I think that's probably the one of the things I'm most proud of really in the past year or so. We've signed a lot of hotels over the past 12 months or so. We now have around 95 hotels operational in the Middle East and Africa, with another 94 signed, ready to open. When we come to the Middle East, our biggest pipeline's in Saudi Arabia, with 40 hotels still to open. And we confidently expect our portfolio to double by 2022. Saudi is very important for us. We think there's a lot of space for scale in Saudi, particularly in the holy cities, and in some of the secondary and tertiary cities as well in Saudi Arabia, outside of Riyadh and Jeddah, the main sort of hubs of the country. I think there's a lot of space there. And Dubai remains very important for us. It's still one of the top places to have a hotel globally. Despite, let's say, a little bit of a slowdown in the last few years, and I would call it a correction in the market, it's still a very important market for us, and I still think there's opportunities here for the right hotels, and that's where we're being a little bit more selective now. Now that we've got some scale, we're ready to expand in a more appropriate way. It's developing. So any developing market has a balance to play between supply and demand. It's incredibly difficult to have that balance exactly right all of the time. And broadly in the Middle East, people point at the moment to declining average rates. And I get that. That is a concern, it really is. But it's also a question of the market balancing itself and correcting itself from perhaps some unrealistically high average rates that we've seen in the past. And our response to that has been incredibly important, actually, I think, in terms of how relevant we are as a hotel operator to our ownership community, to our customers, and to everybody's bottom line, let's say. And that's been to create, as I said earlier, this new operating model, which is much more efficient. It's a more sort of European level of efficiency, but in developing market hotels. And that's been quite successful for us. Well, Expo 2020 is a bus stop on the road to being a developed market in Dubai. It's a very important event. We have a huge plan in place, a task force working on it, as I'm sure most hotel companies do, but I don't want to over-egg the importance of that single event. Yes, it's going to be important for that period of time, but I think actually the biggest benefit of Expo 2020 is likely to be the tail thereafter. I'm sure immediately afterwards we'll see a dip because we won't have those 25 million tourists in town, but the notability and Dubai as a brand will be expanded globally. And I think that helps us unlock markets like India and China and Asia and other developing markets inbound into Dubai. So yeah, I think Expo 2020 is positive, but plans after it is going to be, yes, tailoring our operations to make sure that we remain relevant, but taking advantage of the growth thereafter as well.